Hey, this is Jay Rosenthal from Cultivated. We are here today from the Canadian Securities Exchange, high above the Toronto skyline. We're going to be connecting with Ryan Crandall. He's the Chief Commercial Officer at MariMed. They are based in Massachusetts. They trade on the CSE at MRMD. Ryan is a super knowledgeable guy in the cannabis space. He was the founder of Betty's Eddies. If you've been to Massachusetts and had edibles, you've certainly had those ones. They are now part of MariMed, and he is the Chief Commercial Officer. We're going to talk about which states they operate in, what their retail and wholesale footprint looks like, and what their operations look like today and may look like tomorrow with the consideration of Schedule 3 for medical cannabis in the US. Ryan, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jay. Great to see you again.
We have the best view there is right now. This is the CN Tower, downtown Toronto. So welcome to Toronto, and I know you are outside of Boston and Foxborough. We have something in common. Over the next couple of days, we're hosting World Cups in our respective towns.
Exciting times. There is a buzz about soccer around the world right now.
I like that. I was telling you before we came on that the last time the World Cup was in this general area, I saw a game in Foxborough where you live. And it was at the time my father said, we're never going to anything in Foxborough again, because it took us 3 hours to get out of the parking lot. Getting out of the parking lot took longer than the game itself.
Yes.
Yeah. At least they've solved that, right?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, I want to talk.
It's still a great time to go to the game, but yeah, the traffic is a nightmare.
You have to pack your patience, as we say. But I want to talk about MariMed. You operate across multiple states with a portfolio of brands, and I'm gonna maybe leave some out, but you're gonna correct me when I leave. Betty's Eddies, my personal favorite and our family favorite, Betty's Eddies. Bubby's Baked, also a favorite. Vibations, InHouse, Nature's Heritage. Walk us through the current geographic footprint with those brands and which states you're in, and where do you see the most concentration? Let's talk about wholesale first of those brands.
Sure, Jay. I appreciate the question. We are all about our brands. Everything we talk about internally. I mean, we talk about expanding the brand. Every project is really about expanding our brand and how do we get the brand to more consumers. So our brands are paramount. Yeah, you covered them all. They're leaders in most of the categories that they operate, depending on the state and the market. So we're in Massachusetts, we're in Illinois, we're in Maryland, and we're in Delaware in owned operations. We are licensed in the state of Rhode Island and the state of Maine. And so in those states, Betty's Eddies is the number one selling edible across many of those states. Overall, the edible category. Bubby's Baked is the number one selling baked good in most of those markets. And then Vibations, which is a powdered drink mix, is typically leading it always leads the powdered space, but it's typically punching well above its weight, in the top 5 or the top 7, in the overall beverage category within each market. In addition to that, you got Nature's Heritage and InHouse. Nature's Heritage and InHouse are both behemoths of their own, having flour and pre-rolls and concentrates and a lot of products that consumers, buy with velocity. So, there's a good amount of units that we sell of Nature's Heritage flour. We just added some additional formats to the flour, some larger sizes, which our consumers were asking for and they're really excited about. And InHouse, flour and gummies continue to become, that value end of the portfolio. Having something for everyone, is really important to us across price points and such. So, we really offer the consumer a variety of price points across our brands and a variety of formats to consume cannabis.
I want to drill down a little bit into that because not that I'm a big financial guy, but I was digging into the Q1 financials and revenue hit 17.5 in wholesale million and 21.7 in retail. So roughly 45% of revenues coming through wholesale distribution in those markets. Tell us about the mechanics, like which states are you seeing the strongest wholesale demand and how are retailers responding to your brands relative to the broader market? Because it sounds like they are responding in those things. And then in concrete terms, which categories, you mentioned them, like are you winning in edibles, flour, or concentrates, or across all of those? And how much is driven in those states by medical versus adult use, where you know about it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think digging into the next level of detail around the brands, to us, it's about penetration when you start to take a look at these markets and, how many doors are you in and how well penetrated are you? So when we talk about our wholesale markets, we're at about an 82% penetration looking at the last trailing 12 months. Over 80 is a standard for us that we've set as of recent years. And, Delaware and Maryland specifically lead the way at 100% distribution. So we're in every store in each one of those markets. Massachusetts, we have really, really great distribution here. It's a very competitive market in Massachusetts. A lot of brands, a lot of stores. There's some folks that, aren't paying bills here as there are in other places. So picking your customers wisely is part of the methodology there as well. And Illinois continues to be a great market for us. Like this year has continued to overachieve. And our brands are leading the way there with our sales team and our brand ambassador team. So I feel really good about the wholesale footprint that's here today and how we're expanding it. We started licensing in Maine last year, and that's going exceedingly well. We're adding we've been adult use, Betty's Eddies to date, selling across the state, and we're adding some medical stores going forward. So we're continuing to expand there, and that's going great. And then we're going to continue. We've got New York being built out, so we're looking at expanding our brands through licensing in New York. So that was a long-winded answer, but the second part of your question around medical versus rec, I think it's important, right? Especially as rescheduling and these things happen, understanding who your consumer is it an adult use consumer, is it a medical consumer, is all very valid. And we've got products for both sides of that, right? So, typically higher dose products in states like Massachusetts and Maryland are only allowed for medical patients. And so, gearing your product sets to not just have adult use focused products and have medical focused products, is a portfolio standard that we have across all of our brands.
Yeah, and I actually want to dive into that too, because certainly that's a new situation where medical is now Schedule 3 and adult use is Schedule 1. Like, are you seeing any impacts immediately, or is it more of sort of a 6 or 12-month unlock for what you might see, whether it be banking or enforcement or taxing or talking to your accountants or any of those things? And then, of course, we saw Trulieve now listed on the New York Stock Exchange on their medical side after sort of splitting the business in two. Like, are you seeing any impacts today based on that rescheduling, or is it something you're looking towards the future? And like, how do you even plan for that? Because one thing happened, but not the other. And then we have these hearings at the end of this month and into the next. Like, how do you plan for that as a business?
Great question, Jay. I mean, I think it's overarching and stepping back from it all. I mean, I feel like being witness to it, being in this industry, it's possibly the largest drug reform in U.S. history as we, underway. And I think it's started. We don't think it's finished. So it's an exciting time to be very aware and talking to, people and we're part of USCR and making sure that we are aware of what is going on in Washington and what is going on, with other companies, and how are other people, taking a look at this information as it comes out. I think we're closely watching. We're anticipating guidance relative to 280E. We're anticipating these hearings tied to adult use and rescheduling, will take place over the next couple of months. And I think for us, we view this as an opportunity for value creation for our shareholders. As people start to rethink valuations for cannabis companies, we think that's an opportunity for our shareholders and for investors to become part of this. And I do think that should be a natural flow as these regulations progress.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I think there'll be a look at who has brands, who has footprints across exciting markets, right? Who has concentration even in geographic regions, right? You talked about Maine, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. You talked about Illinois, like Delaware, Maryland. I think there'll be a renewed focus on who's doing well in these markets, what are their footprints, what are the leading brands, and I think anybody who sort of takes a look at what's been leading in even mature markets now, like in Massachusetts, like a fairly savvy consumer, competitive marketplace, and brands have been winning for some time, and sort of what is that unlock that you guys have done? And actually, that's where I'd like to take the next question is, you've been in it a long time. Like you are Betty's Eddies from what I understand. That was your thing. Give a little bit about that, then we'll talk about what's next.
Sure. I mean, I think I have been, but there's a big we behind the eye, and it's not behind the eye, it's with the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I mean, there's been so many people that are still here and along the way that have made Betty's in this company and MariMed, what it is today and what it will become tomorrow. So I think the work is still to be done. We're very proud of what we've done. We haven't just been on top, with our brands for a little bit. It's been a while, and that takes great people. It takes great process, and it takes great product, and it takes continually doing that over time. And so we're very proud of that, and we'll continue to do that. And then it takes us, we're very prescribed in the way that we grow because we are very laser focused on product quality and making sure that product quality transcends state lines, as you have to have different manufacturing and sales outfits in every one of these states. Well,
I've heard you describe bomb bags on other podcasts, right? Like is that what it's called? Like how you actually get the same point?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was taking notes when you were doing that different podcast. I was like, I got to ask Ryan about bomb bags and sort of how you keep consistency across different markets, which I'm sitting here in downtown Toronto, not an issue because you can have one manufacturing facility, ship it across the country. But in the 5 or 6 markets you talked about, it really is a different. You want the same product as the output, but a different manufacturer, different facility, different regulations, even different packaging. Like to be able to win in different markets is not created here and ship it around. It's like, how do you recreate the magic in 5 different locations, 5 different regulations, and even the consumer base is a bit different. And the markets are older and newer.
With licensed partners, where you're not hiring the staff. These are all things that product quality, and consumer feedback is paramount. Then that is paramount, and that's what comes first.
Yeah, actually, let's dive into that for a sec, because one of the, not pie in the sky, but like the thought exercise around rescheduling on the medical side, but even on the adult use side, would be like, if it actually does happen, and can you imagine interstate commerce, even among some of the states you talked about, like that would be a huge unlock for a company like MariMed, I would imagine, where it's like you could have a manufacturing facility in Massachusetts, shipped to Maine and even Rhode Island, even if that was it, sort of a local compact, like that would be a huge unlock for consistency, cost control, efficiencies. I don't know if you want to talk about that because it's like not pie in the sky, but it's like an unknown sometime in the future. But have you started thinking about those conversations in a conference room with a whiteboard, like what it might look like?
Absolutely, we have for years. I think it is. It is all opportunity for the business, and I think we would love to be treated like a regular CPG business, be regulated as such, right? But welcome the opportunity to bring these products across state lines, and obviously take on that efficiency. When and if that ever happens.
Right. So I was talking to someone yesterday, and it was a bit of like the challenge with the cannabis industry is that might be something that could happen. You just don't know if it's going to be a month, a year, or 10 down the road. But the efficiencies lay ahead, not behind in many cases, right? Like it is that the businesses become more efficient, not less generally. The formulations become more advanced, and your ability to do it across lines and build a brand in different markets is only expanded every time you do it, which is actually what I want to talk about. Thinking about the future, not so much interstate commerce, but understanding sort of your retail partners, understanding the brands you have. Like what makes you excited about what might lie ahead in terms of either formulations or new products or sort of advancing what you've done? Like, are there new things on the horizon that we haven't thought of? Like maybe 5 years ago, I don't know if you were thinking about a powder in a cannabis, right? Like, are there things that you would like, we'd love to expand this brand into this area, which isn't currently there, or make a category on our own?
Short answer is yes. I think being so focused on brand at our core, innovation, research and development is a large piece of that. And the way that marketing research plugs into that is very key. So, listening to our consumers about what they love about our products, what they'd like to see, taking a look at, BDSA and headset for, what are the trends in each one of these markets that we're in and some of the other markets that we think are thought leaders, what are some of the movers, and then taking a look outside of that and into, organic grocery stores and what's happening with direct-to-consumer subscription models and, all these different things. And like, there's a lot of really cool products out there. And the consumer is changing and they're dynamic. And as that happens, as in tune as your team can be with that is key. So I would say we're looking at innovating our existing product sets, within fruit chews and within that category. But there's plenty of innovation there. That we're doing LTOs. We've just started to do a swirled Betties. So strawberry lemonade was our number one LTO for years now, and it was a single flavor. And now it's literally lemon and strawberry, and they take it, they put them together, and they swirl it, and it comes out a beautiful swirl. So all of the new LTOs within Betty's are going to be swirled, limited edition LTOs, and we'll see that as becoming a larger part. So, there's I call it micro innovation within the brand, but there's plenty of that happening within Bubby's and Betty's and Vibations, Nature's and InHouse every day. You'll continue to see us innovate around gummy. And I think we've seen some of our competitors continue to innovate on gummy. We'll innovate there because that's a huge category that's not going anywhere. We'll innovate on pre-roll, infused pre-roll, different size pre-rolls, different formats of pre-rolls. There's a lot in pre-roll, and there's a lot in flower and concentrate and vape. So, I think we're focused in every one of these categories on climbing the ranks in each one of these state markets, and that's how we measure success. Is by market share in units and dollars. And so, we are laser focused from a brand perspective on what brands are winning in what markets, why or why not. And if not, then, let's move on. So rapid iteration, don't fall in love with anything, and make sure that everything that you're doing is true to the brand.
And that seems to me, it's better to be in a position like a MariMed and the brands you talked about, because you're moving people from a Betty's Eddies, which they love, to a Betty's Eddies and a new flavor, a new formulation, or a new limited time offer. Like those things, once you have an established brand, the iteration, the micro innovations, as you call it, like become easier because people trust the brand, whether it's on the flower side or the edible side or the fruit chew side. And that's an enviable position, I would imagine, you versus someone sitting at a brand new company trying to say, we're going to take consumers on this journey, but they don't even know who you are. They're not buying your product now, as opposed to yours, which they've loved for years.
It's a great insight, Jay. And I would say this, it's earned every day. Yeah. It's earned every day, right? Because if we sell flower into an account and for some reason or not, it's either not moving or it's not moving at the price point they want, are we willing to treat that customer properly and work with them on solutions to what might be their inventory challenges or their product challenges? And if you do that with people over time, you earn trust, not just the product trust, but business trust. So there's a lot of different things at stake here when we talk about how to have a successful wholesale operation in cannabis. And having the great product and great brand is paramount. And then secondarily, it's, do we have a great sales team? Do we do the right thing by our customers when we're working with them? Are we flexible? But are we doing the right thing by our business as well? And so we're looking at all of that through the lens of trying to create business in more doors with our brands and get more shelf, at the same time pleasing our customers.
Ryan, I really appreciate your time today. We look forward to checking with you as time goes on, and I look forward to being in some of those states and buying as many Betty's Eddies as they'll let me buy for the summer. So thank you so much for your time. We'll connect with you down the road. Good luck navigating the traffic and the soccer over the next month or so.
Thank you, sir. Great to see you, Jay.
Great to see you. Thank you again, Ryan, and thank you to the Canadian Securities Exchange for having us here today. Again, that was Ryan Crandall. He's the Chief Commercial Officer at MariMed. As always, you can find us at cultivated.news on the internet. Get our newsletter in your inbox every single day at 8:01 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back again with another episode from the Canadian Securities Exchange next month.